Sit back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, November the 2nd, 2022. Jersey Johnny coming at you with me, as always, is none other than Mr. RadioPete and Mr. Harry Lug Nutz. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hi, everybody.
Green jersey wearing gentlemen.
We are in the green. We are in the green rooms. Green jersey rooms. But yep.
So we didn't even coordinate.
And the trombone has started early.
Trombone started.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, listen, it's college visit weekend.
Oh, okay.
And meet with trombone professors weekend. So
yes,
okay.
He's if I do say so myself, he's boning up right now.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
I know you had to blow real well to get into college. But...
Yeah.
Well, it depends on
depends on the college.
Depends on the college, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Well, anyway, speaking of, did you know, Harry? You might know. Actually, both of you guys might know this. These days, we say something blows right when it's bad,
right?
But that was originally. Did you know where I'm going with this? That was originally a term that jazz players used to use.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When someone was playing well,
sure,
they would say this guy's blowing.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But somehow I think with, now it's a reference to.
I think it just means blowing it. Like it's, I think that it blows means that like they blew it.
I was doing,
I always figured it was a homophobic thing.
No.
I mean, look, if you're getting blown, it's never bad. I don't think.
Right, but
whether you're a trombone, a saxophone, or a
human,
it's never a bad.
Let me rephrase that. I've certainly heard firsthand when it's bad for an instrument, a horn. Let's put it. Yeah, it's definitely been blown bad. The horn was probably insulted by who was blowing it. But,
maybe.
Fair enough.
But originally a term of
sure.
praise. Yeah,
right.
Sure.
So I always remember I was doing a recording. Quick story, and Harry has been to that studio. The studio doesn't exist anymore in Inglewood, Hillside. Back in the day, and this guy.
You were in there with Miles Davis?
No, it was Coltrane. Miles was there. Yeah, Davis.
Miles Coltrane.
Miles Coltrane. Yeah, exactly.
Jimmy Coltrane.
It was John's third cousin twice removed.
Exactly.
Miles Coltrane.
Jimmy Coldcut.
Jimmy Coldcut. Right. We called him Coltrane.
Yeah.
Cold Train.
He took the cold cuts on the train every day.
Exactly. Cold cut train. So anyway, no, this Andy Snitzer, great saxophonist. If you're in the circles, you know who he is. He's had albums out. He's played with a million people. He's on tour pretty much every time Rolling Stones go on tour. He's their saxophonist. But anyway, he was in doing a couple tracks, and I asked him. I told him I wanted to sound, like if it was like in a late night jazz club, right? Like after like midnight kind of thing. That's the feel I wanted him to do.
As opposed to this.
Those afternoon jazz clubs, right?
Brunch time.
Exactly.
That Wednesday, 10:30 a.m.
Exactly.
The Wednesday.
Totally different kind of jazz. Absolutely. Right.
I mean, anyway, jazz players are like strippers. If you're getting them in the afternoon, you're not getting the best.
You're not getting the best, right? So anyway, I told him this, right? And he told me that he worked with a producer once that told him he wanted him to go in the studio and blow him some night. That's what he said. The producer told him, go in there and blow me some night. That's what he said. So I always remembered that. So that's one thing. Anytime anybody says anything blowing when it comes to a jazz reference, right, or horn or something like that, I always remember that. So anyway, I just want to say that. There you
go. All right. So creating a nighttime sound.
Exactly. So, all right.
Speaking about blowing at night, we should get into the podcast.
We should. I have one question for you guys. Yes. I put this up on Facebook. I'm sure both of you saw it. In fact, I think you both might have commented on it, but I want your opinions on here. If you didn't, I don't quite remember. Whatever. I put up this meme, if you will.
Balls related?
No, it was this right here. It was October 30th. This was the other
Okay.
day. I said that one day a year where we put aside our petty pork rolling versus Taylor ham argument and focus on whether or not it's mischief night, goosey night, cabbage night, or devil's night. So now, Harry, I pretty much know your answer to that for both of them, actually. But I was curious what Pete's is.
I'd like to know what Goosey Night is.
I've never heard of Goosey Night, or what was the one after that?
Cabbage Night.
Yeah,
Cabbage Night.
They're unfamiliar to me.
I could tell you. I'm not quite sure the origin of Goosey Night, but I could tell you it's definitely a Passaic County, New Jersey thing.
Goosey or cabbage?
Goosey. And
across the river in Wallington is cabbage.
It has crossed over into Bergen County a little bit to like Fair Lawn, Elmwood Park, Garfield, those towns right there, because my kids grew up saying Goosey Night in Fair Lawn. And I screamed at them, it's Mischief Night, it's not Goosey Night. No, Dad.
But it all means the same thing, though.
It's the same thing. You go out and do the same thing. Yeah. The cabbage thing was a Paramus, New Jersey thing only, pretty much as far as I know, because they used to have cabbage farms. The kids years ago would break into the cabbage farm, steal the rotten cabbage, and throw that.
Okay,
so that was cabbage.
At least it has an origin story. Yeah.
Right.
Now wait a minute. Did the Fairfield kids steal the wherever it was the goslings and throw them, and so it became Goosey Night?
Maybe they did that. Either that, or years ago they walked around goosing people. I don't know.
I prefer a plant-based mischief.
Yeah, that's a little mischief. But so what was it up in all the way up the Hudson?
Well, I have heard Mischief Night, but for me it was Devil's Night.
It was Devil's Night up in New York.
But I think it was probably both up in good old New Paltz, New York. But maybe just depending on how old you were.
Sure.
If you're a little kid, then your parents might not have wanted to mention the devil.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I never heard of Goosey or cabbage.
Yeah, those are both New Jersey things, I suppose. Right. But then again, so is pork roll and Taylor ham, right? So
that's what happens when you've moved to the South, where this argument just even has some legs.
Yeah, I know. Nobody in North Jersey really gives a damn about.
Next time you can have an Eagles jersey on, or start rooting for the Phillies or something.
Well, ironically, I'll make the statement now. And I'll give you my reasoning. Before we do NFL, I will just tell you really quick. I will probably be wearing an Eagles jersey tomorrow night, and I'll explain why. All right.
See you tomorrow night?
No. Because tomorrow night's Thursday night's bowling night. I was
going to pork roll Thursday.
No. I always wear Thursday night's bowling night. I always wear jersey bowling. Jersey bowling. Right. Wow. But here's my reasoning. One, look, the Giants are not catching the Eagles in the NFC East. That's not happening. The Eagles are winning division. Okay. It's not. I mean, sure, anything can happen. I seriously doubt it. Right. But even more so than that, here's my reasoning. The Giants are on a bye this week, and the Eagles are playing the Texans. I certainly don't want the Texans to get up on a high by beating the Eagles and then go to play the Giants next week. So I would rather the Texans.
You think your wardrobe choice is going
to
impact the performance of specific teams?
Always does. Always does.
I just wanted to make sure.
All right.
I kid. All right.
Maybe
there are stranger things that go on in the world, I suppose.
Yes,
this is true.
There are stranger things than John's wardrobe choices.
This is very true.
Yeah, affecting a football
not a lot, but yeah.
All right. So we got a World Series going on. Game 4's in.
We do. Let's hope Lance McCullers doesn't pitch again.
It's a 2-1.
I kind of hope he does.
By the way, this is if this is the glove. This is I guess a changeup, and this is a fastball.
Is that what the problem was?
It was his leg kick. They were saying his leg kick.
Today it was all over that he holds his glove differently.
Both
different pitches.
He's holding his glove differently, and his leg kick was different. So it was like a double sign.
That's why what's his name called over. I can't remember their names. It doesn't matter. The guy with the stupid fucking bandana who's finally woke up in the postseason. Yeah, Bryce Harper called over another to tell him that as he was going up to bat. So who knows? I mean, how ironic, right?
Right. Well, it's the middle of the third right now, and with no score.
Yeah.
So we got that.
I think it seems like the Phillies are just that team that's, just sort of destined to squeak out enough to win a World Series. Maybe I think the only weirder World Series champion was the Nationals a few years ago.
Right.
But
and refresh our memories. What team did they beat a few years ago to win the World Series?
Yes.
That would be the Astros. Oh, and the Braves also from the National League East won last year. What team did they beat?
The Astros have lost 2 or 3 World Series now.
They've lost
3. 2?
1, 2. No, yeah, 3.
Right. They've won 1 and lost 3, so they get there.
Mm-hmm.
But
they don't always win.
Sometimes look, it's not over yet.
No, by any means.
No. But I don't know how you guys feel about.
Should the Phillies win tonight, you might want to start leaning towards the fact.
Well, and it's the 2-3-2 thing again.
Right.
Yeah, that's why they won.
I mean, if the Phillies win tonight, tomorrow night.
No, but it gives them an advantage. Over, right? Gives them an advantage.
Sure, certainly.
Yeah. I don't know how you guys feel about. I have this knee-jerk reaction to kind of root against players. No, players in general when they're coming up when there's a lot of hype. Guys like LeBron and Bryce Harper, and you remember Bryce Harper, right? He was the next Wizard kid and the 5-tool player, and blah blah blah. So I just kind of I don't want to see them utterly fail, but I'm like you have to, can they do something before they're anointed, by the media? But that's the media's job now, right? Is to get clicks and make noise and all that.
That would be correct.
But if the Phillies win this World Series, even if Bryce Harper doesn't hit another home run, as long as he does something else, then maybe they were sort of right all those years ago, which wasn't that many years ago. I mean, it was, but he's only 30 years old. I don't know if you knew that, but
he's
coming into kind of the later part of the prime of his
career. He's been around for 9-10 years.
He's been around for 20 years old. Yeah, exactly.
It always comes down to 3 things. Okay. Which pitchers are going to be surprising? Which stars actually show up in the postseason, right? Mm-hmm. And then who has that third unexpected position player who comes out of nowhere to do something, or that free agent acquisition that people gave up on that comes back. So it could have been It could have been Rizzo with the Yankees, but it wasn't. It's going to be Kyle Schwarber with
in
the
football.
Phillies.
We call it the unchartable element,
right?
Yeah. That guy that just comes out of nowhere, whether it's just for one game or for a couple games, or in the Super Bowl or something, and you go, I don't know what happened there. And then of course you give guys who continue who have spectacular seasons and they get to the playoffs and they just fall off a cliff, like Altuve and
Verlander.
Alvarez is struggled.
I don't think I've seen a guy dominate so much, especially at this point in his career during the regular season, like Verlander. And actually, he had a pretty good series in the earlier round of the playoffs.
Yeah, he had a great game 1 against the Yankees,
but he fell off the cliff. And look, that it's not so much which stars show up; it's which stars don't show up as well.
Right.
And so far, the Phillies did everything right, obviously, in much like the Braves did last year in who they acquired and how they pieced this team together with guys who could actually hit the ball. They've played better defense and they've outpitched them so far.
Yep.
So we'll see.
And they got a break with the rain out too, which helps.
Exactly.
So that little bit, giving them that extra day, their bullpen gets a little bit extra rest,
and they get to go with the guy who's look. I will say this: in this postseason, there's nobody. Maybe in all of baseball, since I've been watching baseball in the postseason, I have not seen anybody throw nastier stuff than Valdez for the Astros. Mm-hmm. I just have not. Even going back to the Lincecum years, and it seems like the Giants had a dominant pitcher, the Madison Bumgarner. And have you guys seen anybody with that kind of stuff? Where, he's now dominated just made 2 lineups that combined won almost, over 200 games, look like minor leaguers.
Right.
Yes, Verlander's great, but Valdez is something else. And I know they don't like pitching him on short rest, but they got to get him in tomorrow. And then they're going to have to make a decision to pitch him again if they have any chance of winning this World Series.
So you're saying they should pitch him tomorrow and Sunday if it goes to Game 7?
Absolutely. And they should start him. Even if it's for limited pitches, it's got to be all hands on deck.
Gotcha.
Because
it's starting the right thing to do, and I'll say why. It seems like the Phillies, are a later inning team. Right. So if they can get through him, if they can get through 5 or 6 innings of him, and then they bring in somebody from the bullpen.
Well, it's not going to be 5 or 6 innings. It's going to be, if he pitches tomorrow. I mean, it's going to be 2 or 3.
Well, that's my point. So maybe they should go, even if they did get through 5 or 6 innings with him.
With this Astros team needs to, the games, if they're going to win a game 6 or 7, probably a game 7 we're talking about. I think they need to get out to an early lead. I think that this Phillies team is a little bit untested in coming back from a big deficit. I think the Astros have a better chance doing it.
Except for game 1.
After game 1, right? Except for game 1.
And the biggest stage there is,
Right.
But yeah, look, the Astros jumped out to an early lead in game 2.
And they didn't come back from that, right?
But I mean, they got destroyed, but yeah.
Yeah.
So,
5 runs is tough to come back from.
Right.
Against especially in the World Series where you're.
I think the Phillies are just hitting the ball better right now, and I think that the Astros, while they have great pitching, it's the problem of today's modern pitcher. Like Verlander will probably not pitch again, right? Maybe a game 7.
Yeah.
I mean,
he might maybe it might get a couple innings though.
Right.
Game 7, it's definitely all hands.
That's the problem. Is that years ago, if it was a 7-game series and you had your ace pitching game 1. There's a good chance you're going to see him 3 times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what helps that is a 2-2-1-1-1 schedule with a day in between each of those change of venues. So, look, I think the Phillies are going to win this. It just feels, my gut tells me the Phillies are going to win this.
I mean, it's leaning that way. I have a feeling the Phillies are going to win this too. I do.
Yeah, they're getting those performances, right? Like Suarez, right? Going 5 innings of shutout ball. He was, I think his ERA was a little under 4 in the regular season. You got, what's his name in the outfield? Castellanos. Not a good fielder, making crazy diving catches out there. Just getting these little performances that you don't expect, above what that level that you might think,
right.
And that can turn the tide. And then you get you get Harper hitting home runs, and the team gets pumped up. You get that extra day off. All the stars, the dominoes are lining up.
To me, the analogy which is fresh in people's mind is, to me, the Phillies are the Rams. They're this year's Los Angeles Rams, and Harper is Matthew Stafford. Great player. But
you mean last year's Los Angeles Rams?
Yeah, I'm saying the Phillies are this year's
version
of
last year's.
Yeah, because if you look at the Rams this year, they're not that different personnel wise, but they're what I expected them to be last year. They had a couple other guys who they made the right acquisitions, who performed better than they were expected to perform, and their stars played to the level that those stars were expected to play.
Yeah,
which is just a notch above. Like, look, Harper's great, but he's him and Schwarber, and just by performing in October and now November, it's a different. You become a different level player.
You do.
You become a different level player, and that goes for both, at the plate and on the mound. And the Phillies just seem to be a team that I just think it just has sort of, this is their year.
It's destiny.
Well, to some degree, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people who are saying, obviously, that, I mean, if you think about it, and I agree with it, there's a number of people, sports pundits, if you will, out there saying that they weren't an 87-win team. They just had they underperformed in the first half.
Sure.
And I mean, this was really a mid to upper 90s win team. They were probably 10 games behind where they should have been, and they're a better team than they were. I mean, the Mets had their number. That's the thing that really pisses me off, just as a Mets fan. The Mets had their number all year. All right, and even when after Girardi left and they started winning, the Mets still had their number. They still
maybe just maybe it's better to be an 87-win team that wins when it matters than being a 100-win team. Maybe there's something
I can't win when it matters.
Well, because how much effort do you put into getting those extra 13 wins, which don't mean shit now when you have to play in a 3-game series Where if you lose one game after having to sit out for a week, look, it's I don't think the home field matters as much, and the teams that win the division certainly do not have as big an advantage as they've had in years past.
Yeah, I know. I got you. All right. So we're all in agreement that we feel the Phillies are going to wind up winning this thing, and by the time we're on the show live next, the series will be over, even if it goes to Game 7.
Let's hope so, unless there's really a lot of rainouts.
This is true. Yeah. All of a sudden they're playing Game 7 to December 1st, right?
That's right.
So, all right. Couple of the quick things on baseball before we move on to football. Mets story came out today. I just thought it was cute. I just want to bring it up. Mets actually never heard this during the season, and apparently that's why it came out today. That nobody did. Mets actually tried to trade to the with the Reds for Edwin Diaz's brother Alexis to get him so they have both the brothers on the team. I thought that was interesting. It didn't work, but they may do it again this year. Who knows? But I thought it was pretty interesting. And the reason above that I thought was interesting too is that we've talked about Corey, my daughter Rachel's boyfriend. He was in the minor league system for the Reds, and a longtime roommate of his out at spring training every year was Alexis Diaz. So I always thought it was interesting. So
I think her new album, Alexis Diaz,
right? Well, they're that's a guy's name where he comes from. So
I know it was just a joke, meaning that I'm not as versed on who's on the Cincinnati Reds, and I have no idea who Alexis Diaz is.
Alexis Diaz, right? So, and her album.
But I'm glad you were able to string that along so that you could pop in your daughter's boyfriend.
Absolutely.
Minor league connection.
Minor league roommate.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Maybe almost, and maybe in the future traded to the Mets where he will play with his brother.
Well done, young
man.
Well done.
I figured you'd like that.
Well done.
I got a better one for you though.
Yeah.
And I think we might have talked about this.
Hopefully this has nothing to do with Tiki Barber or some obscure Giants from the 1980s.
The quick Yankees thing, and let's not go longer than 45 minutes on this one.
45 minutes. Wow, okay.
Well, I'm just putting it for you there. Hal Steinbrenner has made the announcement that as far as he's concerned, Aaron Boone will be back next year. Do you agree with it?
Well, look, this is my take on the Yankees. I'll try to be as quick as possible. Hal Steinbrenner should be out there saying that Aaron should be back. But not Aaron fucking Boone, Aaron fucking Judge.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Coming out and saying that Aaron Boone is going to be back. It's like, okay, I get it. But the Yankees are losing Judge. They're losing him. He's gone. Okay. So that's fine. If it was the Yankees of old, then they would be out right now already, even though it's illegal, I guess. They'd be talking to Trey Turner. They'd be making sure that they're wrapping up Andrew Benintendi. They'd be making sure that they got the pitchers that they didn't get at the trade deadline. Okay. Right. They'd be packing their team with guys who are going to give them the best chance to win a championship.
Fair enough.
And the problem, look, I don't think Aaron Boone is the best manager in baseball. But I also don't think that there's people that are that much better than him. Is Dusty Baker that much better than Aaron Boone? No, not really.
Dusty Baker is about to lose his
lousy
Dusty Baker
in this World Series.
Dusty Baker is about to lose his 14th World Series.
Right. It doesn't really matter. You guys were rightfully so. You were very excited about Buck Showalter, but look.
It didn't make a difference in the long run. The Mets were still the Mets.
It might in the long run. What I'm saying is that the more important thing is the GM and the owner. We have to go back to the Yankees. Let me tell Hal Steinbrenner something. Okay, your father was not a perfect man by any means. Okay, but he admitted when he made mistakes occasionally. Okay, and he got guys to win games. He got the team that he needed to. Okay. This idea that we're going to hold on to these prospects forever and have Oswald and Oswaldo and Oswalda and Esmeralda and all of these motherfuckers who can't who can't turn a double play, who all of a sudden are starting in the ALDS because because our man. This is what bothers me about Aaron Boone. Go out and get some players. If these prospects are so good, then they should be playing right now. Okay, put DJ LeMahieu at first base if you can't re-sign Anthony Rizzo. If you want to give Rizzo an extension and overpay him, great. Leave him at first base and get rid of fucking Josh Donaldson and eat the money. And put LeMahieu at third base. Make sure you lock up Benintendi or somebody else who could catch the ball in fucking left field. And get some pitching. Because Judge is gone. And you know what? If you do the right thing, it might be better.
Mm-hmm.
Did Cashman get a vote of confidence as well?
Cashman's under contract.
Yeah. He'll have to get fired if
he can't be fired.
Well, he can be fired, but yeah, I don't think Cashman's going anywhere.
Okay, so neither one of them are going anywhere.
Yeah. Look at it this way.
Yeah,
if go ahead, what?
I was gonna say, Aaron Boone does what the Yankee ownership wants him to do, right?
Correct.
He plays by the numbers. It's analytics and all that stuff. Like, who are you going to bring in? You're not going to bring in some firebrand who's going to buck the system and do that. That's not what they want. So,
but let me ask you something. Did a change in manager help the Phillies?
It did.
Did a change in manager help the Yankees half a year into after winning the World Series, firing Billy Martin? Did that change things? Yeah, well, it did.
Yeah, but Martin, that's a whole. So,
well, look, and it's not.
I'm not saying you can't. Yeah. You can't. Maybe somebody could come in and do it better or whatever, but I don't know. Is
you're right?
Is Aaron Boone? Is Aaron Boone the biggest problem the Yankees have?
No, it's
so what you just said. Put players on the team that can do certain things, and have a spot for LeMahieu and get some pitching, and then Aaron Boone can do what he does, which he probably does very well. He just doesn't. I mean, how does the whole team just not hit the ball for 4 games straight?
Because they don't have guys who can make contact with the ball. Because they've overhyped these prospects that they're so high on. Cabrera hits one, okay, and then is standing there looking at it, okay, hot dogging. Well, Karma is a son of a bitch because you couldn't hit the fucking side of a barn with a beach ball the rest of the time, and your outfield play sucks. I don't care how versatile you are, and you could play 3 different positions and fumble basic defensive plays at all 3.
If you suck at all of them, what good does it do?
Josh Donaldson's got to go. All right? If you perform that shitty, you're gone. You do not deserve to start on a Major League Baseball team, especially one that is vying for a championship.
Right. I'll throw this up really quick right now. Mariano Rivera last week was quoted as saying, if he was the owner, Aaron Boone wouldn't stay. So there you go. So, and that's
I would probably just get rid of him just to bring in. I think Judge is gone. Just bring in somebody else and start again. And
Cashman's got to go. Cashman's got to
go.
Both
should go.
Or if Cashman's not the problem, then Steinbrenner's got to decide: do I want to win, or because you're failing, you're not living up to the Steinbrenner name. You're failing, and people got to start calling him out on this.
Yeah, that's the thing. Whatever you're doing, whether it's the Steinbrenner way or not, which it's not working. You're not winning. So you have to do something different. And are these 2 guys, are they capable of doing it different or differently enough to get back on the winning track? I mean, in Cashman's case, I'd say no.
If you're cheap, if the answer is that you don't want to spend the money, then that gives me my answer to why we have Anthony Rizzo and not Freddie Freeman. It gives me the answers why we had 5 second-string shortstops playing instead of Trey Turner.
Let me put it to you this way, and we'll wrap the conversation up after that. Let me put it to you this way. I think that it's pretty clear, and has been for quite some time now, that Hal Steinbrenner does not want to spend the same money that his father used to spend.
Obviously. So then you know what? Sell the Yankees to somebody who does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I mean, that's what it boils down to, right? I mean, if well, first of all, if George Steinbrenner was still there, a lot of things would be. You just pop him right into with this mix right here. Aaron Judge would be staying. Okay, and there would be no question about it. He would have been signed already. Aaron Boone would have been gone before now. Brian Cashman would have been gone before now. And well, go ahead.
I'm gonna say Cashman might not be gone.
Depending on what has been happening with money, right? Yeah, that's true.
No, what I'm saying is he might be taking orders from George,
right?
And because he's good at making deals, right?
He was 20 years ago,
right? But so he might still be there. That skill set might be useful, but he would, I think, be being told what to do by George. But he might also be gone too, because
somebody needs to stand up to Hal Steinbrenner and go, Frankie Montas and Josh Donaldson are not the answers. If that's getting you excited about your free agent acquisitions, then you do not know baseball. You should leave.
Yeah.
Go own the Kansas City Royals, because that fan base will get excited about that.
All right.
All right. One quick thing about baseball, not about the Mets or the Yankees.
You got it.
I want to give a shout out. Again, I don't. This is sort of the powers that be praising one of their own. But anyway, we talk a lot about umpires. So umpire scorecards, which is an organization that tracks umpires' ball and strike calls. Right, they've been doing this for years.
Sure. Right.
One thing they never had was an umpire's perfect game until Game 2 of the World Series. So a shout out to Pat Hoberg, who called the perfect game behind the plate, according to umpire scoreboards.
What is the criteria for an umpire's perfect game?
So so basically, using what they use to judge the balls and strikes, you don't miss any.
He got them all right.
He got every call he made right. It was correct.
They judged correctly, yes. So the no balls were called strikes. No strikes were called balls. There was no favoritism, no impactful missed calls. Accuracy 100% for balls and strikes. Never happened before. So I just want to give a shout out to Pat Hoberg.
Shout out to Pat Hoberg. Absolutely. Good job, Pat. But also, on another note, think about that. That has never happened before.
Well, I mean, it's not like we've had this technology.
No, since but I don't care. However long it's been, even if it's been a year, and it's been longer, but even if it's been a year, that means that every single other umpire in every single other game for the last year, obviously longer, has missed calls.
Well, and that's to be expected. Let me say something though. Like when you watch in actual real time, okay, some of the pitches, I'm not sure that box is always accurate either. You know, I'm not sure that digital box is always accurate either. So, to the umpire's credit, I think they do a pretty good job.
Fair enough.
Well, the scorecards they have the what they call the true zone, which is the box, and then they have what they call the EUZ, which is the estimated ump zone. And
right,
so
because you're seeing it from behind a catcher. You're seeing it with a bat being swung in front of you. You're seeing it with a catcher they're better than ever at framing pitches.
Right.
And you're also seeing some pitchers who have some nasty movement late in their pitches, which it's just like, okay.
Well, and you're looking at it from the center field camera, which is not a direct shot over the mound. It's at an angle. So everything is a little bit skewed. But again, according to this service, this guy called a perfect game. And he did it in the World Series too. So,
the other thing that I will say is that there's no such thing as a check swing anymore. If you move your bat, you went around, which is just ridiculous.
Except for sometimes when it's so obvious that you went around, but they don't call it for whatever reason.
All right,
you know. Anyway, so shout out to Pat Hoberg.
Shout out to Pat. Good job, Pat.
Pat Hoberg. Today's recipient of old balls.
Old balls. There you go. No, throw old balls in there.
Right calls.
No, of correct balls.
Old balls
and proper strikes
and right calls.
There we go.
No balls and right calls. There you go.
Well, there's balls in there. You just got them right.
Correct balls and right calls. There you go. All right. Switch it to football. Hey, look. You know what? The last week is the same as this week. There's some boring games on the schedule. And obviously, you don't know that they're going to be boring until, you get into the season and you see what some teams are doing and some others aren't, and that's what the luck of the draw, I guess, gets you. But in any event, speaking just specifically about Jets and Giants, we'll start with the Giants. Look, I'll just say this really quick. I'm not going to sit here and say that I had aspirations after them going 6-1 that they were going to win the Super Bowl, right? Not happening. We know this, right? Stranger things have happened. Fine. I get it. But more than likely, they're not, right? And we should be ecstatic. But I'm mad that they lost the game because of how they lost it. And I still haven't heard that Richie James has been let go. Okay. Maybe they're waiting until he recovers from his concussion that he got on the second fumble in the punt return. But in any event, who knows? To twice.
Maybe he doesn't know he's on the Giants yet because
Maybe.
he got a concussion.
Exactly.
So they're waiting for his senses to come back.
Right. One, bad enough, right? And I think Seahawks wound up with 3 points off of that one. But the second one, they wound up with a touchdown. So that's 10 points. All right. So the Giants could have and probably should have, but at least could have won that game. And the way they've been playing.
Yeah, I mean, but you sort of knew that this was a week where they were.
Of course. No, it's definitely of any of those next three games.
Let's be honest. All right. The Giants caught a Tennessee Titans team. Look, the Giants play Tennessee now. There's no way they're beating them.
No.
Okay. We were excited when they beat Green Bay. Well, the Jets beat Green Bay, and Green Bay is.
So did Washington.
Yeah. Green Bay's horrible.
And Washington beat Green Bay.
So, I mean, look, yeah, they beat Baltimore again. A team that's as self-destructive as the Giants. Mm-hmm. So, are the Giants much better than they were last year? Absolutely, but their flaws finally came, and they are not a team that's gonna.
I know, but the thing that pissed me off the most, even more so than Richie James dropping the
Geno Smith
was that they lost to Geno Smith,
right?
In general.
Which Geno Smith did something that no one's ever done in the history of the NFL. He gave a shout out to.
Hey, yeah. We'll put this up right here. This was his comment right here. He said in his presser after the game, he said, "I'm happy to be here in Seattle. I spent 1 year with the Giants, so that year is to me like a blur. My life has moved on from them. I don't have any remorse toward anyone there." I don't even know what that means, but I don't have any remorse toward anyone there. In fact, this game is for Ben McAdoo and Jerry Reese. They believed in me.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why you're not on why you're not on the team anymore.
You got it, Gina. Whatever you say, Gina.
Well, look, and Gina, I'll give Geno Smith credit. And this is what is sitting out here in Broncos country. I mean, I find it absolutely hilarious how well the Seattle Seahawks are doing without, Russell Wilson. And if there's anybody who is sort of sitting here going, "Told you so." There's never been a more overrated quarterback, I think, in the history of the NFL than Russell Wilson.
Right.
And look, is he horrible? No, but he's in that, lower middle of the pack or upper middle of the pack.
Right.
Look, you got to give Seattle credit. Seattle's what, 5-3, 6-2, something like that. They've won some games this year. They do not have a lot of talent.
They're 5-3.
5-3.
Yeah.
So they're on top of the NFC West.
You gotta give Seattle some credit.
Wouldn't it? Yeah. And look, Geno Smith, auspicious beginnings, right? A panic pick by the Jets in the first place. Certainly, right. Well, we got to have somebody. Well, he's, I guess, the best guy. And he's in the right situation now, right?
Right.
So, whatever. More power to him.
Yeah. No,
I mean, it's look, Seattle. I don't know who they have. Who they have left on their schedule, but I wouldn't imagine Seattle's going to win the NFC West despite being ahead by a game now, because I think San Francisco is about ready to go on a tear.
It looks that way
until they shit the bed again in a week.
Well, 2 weeks ago. They're getting everybody back. Their defense is tough.
I don't know.
They got McCaffrey.
Yeah, the first game with McCaffrey, they lost.
Yeah, and then he had another week, and then he ran for a touchdown and caught a touchdown and threw a touchdown.
Hey, so who's the real 49ers? Are they the team that lost to the Bears or the team that won this week? Who knows?
I think they're the team that won this week.
I do too.
I also think the Rams are not very good.
No, they're not. They're not.
I don't think they are. I think they're lost. And Arizona has done nothing either. You know, they got the receivers coming back. What's his name came back from a suspension, and they traded for that other guy from the Jets, Robbie Anderson, and they're 3-5 at the bottom of the pack with the
I will put this to you with the Giants too. One last thing I was going to mention: the Giants have lost 2 games so far this year. They're 6-2, right? So they lost to Seattle this past weekend, and they lost to Dallas in game 3. Game three. Both quarterbacks that they lost games to are former Giants backup quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So Cooper Rush and Geno Smith. So.
Look, the Giants' schedule is in their favor.
Hold on. One last point on that. They have a game coming up, actually 2 other games coming up. Both of them against Washington. Jake Fromm is on the practice squad.
Yeah, but none of those guys are going on to have stellar NFL careers, I don't think.
It was a joke. I'm kidding. But.
There's a lot of games, especially when the Giants are involved, against certain teams where you watch the game, I say to myself, I can't believe both of these guys are starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
Right.
That was last week's. Look, the Giants have the Texans and Lions coming up off a bye week, right? Then they got to play the Cowboys, the Commanders twice, and the Eagles. So the Giants
throw in the Vikings in there and the
Colts. You know, the Giants wind up 500 at the end of the year, or it's never going to be 500. But
honestly, the Giants could be 11-6.
I think they could win 4 more.
I'm going to tell you what. Do you think it's realistic that they're going to beat the Texans next week?
I think
just really quick. Answer my question. Do you think it's realistic?
I think it'll be much like the Jacksonville game. I think it'll be close and it'll come down one way or the other. Okay. I think they should, but does that mean they will? I don't know.
I think they will.
Okay, I think they will too, but we'll see.
It won't be a blowout, but it'll be a handy victory.
I think it's the last. I think the next 2 games are the last 2 games the Giants win.
All right, hold on. So you think they're going to beat the Lions too, right? So that's
I think
2.
They win 8 games this year.
That's 2. That's 8 games. Okay. So they're losing to Cowboys, right?
I think they lose out after that.
Okay. So they're losing to the Cowboys, you're saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're losing to the Commanders at home?
I think so.
I think they win 1 against the Commanders.
Okay. So 9 wins, maybe.
That's 3. Okay. They're losing to the Eagles at home?
Yep.
All right. They're losing to Commanders in Washington?
Right.
They're losing to the Vikings in Minnesota?
Yes.
They're not going to have a chance to beat the Colts?
They have a chance, but I don't think they will.
All right.
Yeah, I think they'll beat the Colts.
I think they'll beat the Colts.
I think they lose one of these next 2 games. I think they lose to either the Texans or the Lions.
Yeah, well, I think they're looking at a 10-7 record at this point,
which would be great.
So, and I think they're looking at a 10-7 record, and I think that there's a possibility they could go 11-6, and that's by beating the Commanders both times. Because I do agree that they're going to lose to the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. They're going to lose both games to the Eagles, and there's no way they're beating the Vikings. But then again, that's just about the time of year usually that the Vikings start shitting the bed.
Well, they could lose. They could come out and lose to the Texans and Lions, beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day,
right?
You know, lose to the
Commanders.
This
whole entire conversation is done,
and then beat the Vikings, Colts, and Eagles to round out the season because the Eagles don't have anything to play for in the last game of the year. And, you know, Daniel Jones throws 3 touchdown passes and Giants fans start, you know, waving their pom-poms so they can get wiped out in a wild card game.
And then all of a sudden they're 12 and they're 12-5.
Well,
and the top seed in the wild card teams. And right. So anyway, all right. Really quick on the Jets though. The man wearing the
1 week I take him.
The man wearing the Chad Pennington jersey there.
The bed.
What do you think of the 3 what do you think of the 3 interceptions by Mr. Wilson there?
Well, the 2 of them were absolutely terrible. And look, here's the thing about the Jets. I think we were talking about this a couple weeks ago. We weren't really sure what their offensive identity was, right?
Right. Yeah.
Good young team, solid players. Then we sort of kind of figured it out, right? Don't ask Zach Wilson to do too much. Give the ball to Breece Hall. Spell him with what's his name?
Loss.
Yeah. Now, he's gone. Oliveira, the lineman's gone. That's not his real name. I can't
Oliveira.
Oliveira.
Elijah Barrett Tucker.
Yeah, there you go. He's gone, right?
Oliveira.
I mean, honestly, think about this. With the injuries the Jets have suffered, there's no way they should be where they are, especially with their offensive line, right? They lost, what's his name, before the season?
Beginning of the season, yeah.
The second year, right? They
Mekhi Becton, yep.
Mekhi Becton. Fant came in. He went to the right. Then they had to bring in Dwayne Brown, who's probably been better than expected. He's been upright, sort of. So
that's a good thing.
I think he probably gets away with more holding calls than he gets more holds than he gets called for, and he gets called a lot.
He's pretty much holding on every single play.
It's a game of averages.
And they lost, and you've got Elijah Moore, who's pissed, and maybe they're going to keep him on the team but not play him, or he's not going to get any looks or whatever. And the other receivers, this team should be a shambles right now. But what I will say is, whatever that offensive identity was, it's gone now.
Right.
Mostly because of the injury to Breece Hall. So now they've got to figure out, how do we get back to doing what we were doing and winning? And the rest of the season, we have to see from Zach Wilson development, progression, improvement in him recognizing those situations, like those interceptions, and not throwing that ball. Eat it, or look like he's trying to throw the one out of bounds. Fucking McCourty. Anyone can intercept the ball except for that guy. Twice.
I hear you.
He needs to recognize those situations and do something different. You can't just, those were terrible interceptions.
Horrible.
No. I mean, if there's 1 second left on the clock and you're heaving it, whatever, right. Fine. But you're trying to move. The game is closed. You've got a shot here. You can't be making those mistakes. He needs to show development in that area, recognizing those situations before he does something stupid and doing something else. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, it could be rough for them because they've still got good pieces, mm-hmm. But it's hard when you're missing 3 or 4 of your starters. Your offensive line is it's
patchwork
constantly. Yeah.
Well, I think what we're going to find out is has the Jets' success running the ball been all Breece Hall, or has it been good blocking? Because
I think it's been a combination.
Yeah. So they're going to have to commit to the run, even if it's much like the Giants, where it's not dynamic and their average run is not off the charts. They have to commit to that to make sure that they're not putting themselves in a position where they have to throw the ball 30 times a game. Yeah. And that's what it's going to come down to. I also think that the Jets are successful when they create turnovers and or can score on special team plays. That's where some of their advantages lie. And that's a tall thing to ask.
It is. And the thing about Hall is he doesn't just get you those 2 or 3, almost 4 yards that kind of any running back can get with a good line, right?
He's got those big runs.
He's
got those big runs. He might have 4 carries and it's not doing anything, and then all of a sudden he rattles off a 60-yarder.
Right. And that's hard to replace. You got to run the ball.
Absolutely. It's a big loss.
Twice as many times.
It's a big loss.
Absolutely.
Here's what I think is good. It seems like what Sal and company are doing, everybody's buying in. The team is amped up, and they're so young. This team is so young. They're the youngest in the league, and there's a lot of promising future here. So let's keep Zach Wilson upright and try and figure out a way we put him in the position where he doesn't have to throw the ball 30, 35 times a game, and see if he can figure out clicking in his head a little sooner. Don't let it go. Eat it or throw it out of whatever, and progress over the year. But the team is young. They're hungry. I think they're buying in to what the coach is selling, and that's all good stuff.
Yep.
And we shouldn't expect them to win 10 games this season.
No.
So
no. I think you could say that the Jets have probably already exceeded expectations.
Oh hell yeah!
But what you don't want a complete reversal of some of the momentum that they've had.
Yeah.
And you don't want to start doing things for the sake of winning that are going to be counterproductive in the long run.
Right.
And this has been this also has been the Jets report that we didn't play the sounder for.
Oh, yeah. Well, we don't know if it's going to play. Oh, no, this is the good one.
I had to play the long one.
You ready to do this? Yeah, ready. And we've got Joe and Coach Sala and everybody else in here. They're going to hop on.
Swaggy Sauce Gardner. How you doing, brother? Joe Douglas. How you doing, brother? Joe Douglas.
Hey, man.
Hey, man. You ready to join the family?
Hey, man.
Hey, man, I'm going to turn you over to Coach Sala.
Hey, man.
Hey, man, congrats, man. Welcome to the family.
Thank y'all, man.
So creepy.
Hey, man.
We should just start the show with this. Let's be honest.
Hey, yell it.
I mean, this is my favorite part of the show.
I'm great, man.
It bothers me, but I
Welcome to the
just
family.
can't
Welcome to the family.
like not
Welcome to the
listen to it.
family.
Really good with headphones on. You really get the
You
panorama.
get the whole panoramic.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. You get the whole Dolby.
Joe Douglas is a
Stereo
bit of an
nuts.
enigma for me.
Joe
He's
Douglas.
done a good job, but he's just a weirdo.
He's not Mike.
Hey, man. Hey, man. Hey, man.
Hey, man.
Hey, man.
Sauce was probably just like, what the fuck have I got myself into?
It's right. They just drafted him, and this is their first
Yeah.
contact with him. You know,
Guy's like 21 years old, and he's just like, what the fuck? What the fuck's going on here? Who is Joe Douglas?
That's good. Too. So, anyway, on that note, I just want to shift it back really quick to the Giants just for 1 second. I want both of your quick opinions on this one. What are the odds? Because as you know, as everybody's found out by now, it's almost a week old, this information. The Giants have traded Kadarius Toney to the Kansas City Chiefs for a conditional third round, and a 6th round pick. What are the odds that Kadarius Toney, now being on the Chiefs, turns into Tyreek Hill 2.0?
He's not going to turn into Tyreek Hill, but he's certainly going to be turn into Kadarius Toney.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know what the problem was that the Giants felt it was. And listen, not a bad deal, I guess, right? It was number.
No, it's a
20
horrible
overall.
deal. It's a horrible deal.
Well, I mean, but in other words, what is it that made them think he just can't stay here?
I don't know.
Right? When you come to that,
Got to be pretty bad.
decision,
I think it was a
That's what I
personality
mean.
thing. I don't
they
think he
came
was
to this decision.
looking
They
eye
said,
with-
okay, this guy can't stay. We have to get rid of him. He's poisoned the locker room or whatever.
Mhm.
So they went out and they made the best deal they could for him. I just
And
want
if
to
that's
know
the case-
what is it that was so bad?
Here's the thing, though. If that's the case, if that's the case, that he was poisoning the locker room, whatever you want to say, right? Kudos to Dable and Shane and the staff and everything else for keeping it in the locker room and not letting
Yes.
it become a big story for two reasons. One, for the kid's career, right? And also for them, possibly trading him, which obviously I think they could have gotten more for him than a 3rd and a 6th round pick, but not much more, but more regardless. But in any event, if it is true and we are giving them kudos, duly, right? That's why we don't know what it is, because nobody ever said it, right?
Yeah.
But I will tell you this. I saw a couple of tweets after the trade. And first of all, the first thing that Kadarius Toney did was, hello, Chiefs Kingdom, thank God.
He also
That
gave
was-
a shout out to Ben McAdoo. And
Yeah, I don't
So-
know how sound his judgment is.
Right. And then somebody, I didn't see the original tweet. It was in a thread, but somebody was talking about how he, it was along the lines, I'm paraphrasing. It was along the lines of how he should have played for the Giants more. Why wasn't he on the field? What, and they were putting him down or whatever. But bottom line is his response to that, response to that tweet was, that would be funny if I was actually injured. Meaning that if that's true, he wasn't injured. He just wasn't playing. So something was going on.
So either you're an asshole or you sucked or both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if that's the case, he's not hurt and he's not playing, then he's probably not doesn't know the playbook, hasn't studied, he's running wrong routes, and not doing the things he's supposed to be doing on the field.
Maybe he's another prima donna wide receiver.
Could be. It's possible.
But there was
as far
also
as going to the Chiefs and being, not the next Tyreek Hill, but being good. Who goes to the Chiefs with that team and isn't good. You know what I mean? He'll have plenty of chances. He'll get looks, right? Because now he's right. He's not Travis Kelce, and he's
wasn't Kadarius Toney like the 15th pick overall the year he was drafted?
20th, John. Did you say he was the 20th? We were.
Kadarius Toney was the 20th pick. 20th.
So he's pretty high draft capital.
Yeah.
One of the things the Giants are going to suffer from, and they've proven in the past that they're not good at this anyway, is that in years past, the Giants were great at drafting wide receivers, finding gems and then the other thing that they were really good at was letting them go and not overpaying them. So this is draft capital the Giants aren't going to have in coming years, because if the Giants get better, which they have, they're not going to have as many high, draft picks to choose from. Mm-hmm. I think Kadarius Toney I think something went on there. And yes, of course, the Giants felt like they had to get rid of him. But it would be interesting if this was a Brian Dable pick, and not his predecessor's pick.
Right.
I think getting a third and sixth pick was just, let's get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
And to me,
get something back.
That is not always the answer. Mm-hmm. With somebody who I think is going to prove that they've got some talent and is able to contribute to a team with a better fit.
Right. All right. Cool. I think that probably brings us to beaten by the coin. What do you think?
Yeah.
We don't have any other football to talk about. I mean, there was really nothing really game-wise last week. So.
No, I mean, whatever.
There were some teams that played and some things that
some teams played.
The Bucks lost. The Raiders
Bucks
lost.
Third in a row. The Bucks.
Saints look like world beaters against
the Packers.
Packers,
Mm-hmm.
The NFL is definitely much more.
It's a weird year, isn't it?
Unpredictable this year. Yes.
Yeah. The traditional powerhouses are not.
Yeah.
No.
By and large.
Yeah. Bucks lost. The Jags lost. The Broncos won a game. Broncos won.
Yeah.
Dolphins beat the Lions. Falcons beat the Panthers by 3, barely.
Vikings without Matty Ice, right?
And Pete thinks the 4-4 San Francisco 49ers, who I can't decide what they are world beaters.
And then the Cowboys
going on a run.
The Cowboys scored 49 points, assholes, against the Bears. Not because they beat the Bears, just because they're assholes. It was a joke. Eagles, Saints won. Pats beat the Jets by 5 points.
If you guys were Jet fans, you would have taken New England. Because you just would have known, as I do. Yeah, no, they're not going to beat them.
Much like being a Giants fan, which is why I took Seattle. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. And that might have had something to do with Zach's performance. I mean, the Jets haven't beat New England in 15 years or 15 games or whatever the hell it is. It's a little extra pressure there on the kid, but he did not respond well to it.
Yeah, he didn't. And the Browns beat the Bengals. The Browns beat the shit out of the Bengals on Monday night.
Yeah, right when everybody thought the Bengals were figuring their stuff out, they shit the bed pretty bad.
Who is the most perplexing? Green Bay, Tampa Bay, the Bengals. As far as these teams,
I think
the Rams.
Yes.
I guess
I would say
Rams.
I would say Tampa. I'd say the Rams are up there. I'd say Tampa Bay and the
Tampa
Bengals. Bay, only because I think the Bengals have shown signs of what they were last year, and then to come back and just not show up at all is just not against a good team either.
Look, I think the Bengals honestly are the biggest question mark, and that's because one, and I think it's because of their revamped offensive line, which, as bad as it was last year, they still made it to the damn Super Bowl, right? But they revamped the offensive line, and it's worse. It's worse, right? So I think that's the main reason for it. But I think they're the biggest question mark because the Bucs, you can kind of figure that, okay, there's a lot going on there. New head coach. Even though it was there, it's still Todd Bowles and not Bruce Arians. And the other fact of the matter is, I don't care what you tell me, Tom Brady's got a lot going on in his mind. Even though the divorce is final, he's still not 100% him because, mentally, emotionally, whatever.
Well, look,
he's not a machine, right?
It's a coaching change too.
Right?
It's a coaching change.
The coaching's the biggest thing, right? Of course. And then the Packers, you can kind of figure because Aaron Rodgers is able to throw the friggin' ball to, and the offensive line is not really that good.
When has it ever worked out with a star player picking the coach he wants, with a new coach taking over for a successful veteran coach? When has that ever worked out in the history of sports?
Well, we'll talk about that. I don't know about a successful veteran coach, but we'll talk about kind of what you just said in a little while. But
can't wait.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's do some picks. Let's do this. These picks here.
The coin.
I'm sure I'll lose to the coin.
No one wants to be beaten by the coin.
All right, by the coin. A tumultuous week last week for week 8. Here's Johnny going 2 and 3.
2 and 3, yeah.
2 and 3. Being surpassed by myself. Having the best of us with a 4 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
Harry Lug Nutz still with a 3-game lead over me at 30 and 14, going 3 and 2 last week. And the coin evening up at an even double deuce on either side of the dash, going 2 and 3. So the coin through 8 weeks at 500, which I think is probably the best it's ever done.
Well, let me just say something before you get into it. We are, for people who have followed this before, we are purposely picking pretty hard games. I think the largest spread in any of the games that we picked last week was 2.5 points.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like we're throwing in a few no-brainers in there. We picked a couple tough games.
Sure. Just to point out, though, we weren't picking easy games.
That's what I mean.
Okay. No. The previous seasons, we weren't picking easy games. We were picking specifics. We were going the Thursday night game, the Sunday night game, the Monday night game,
the Jets and Giants.
Right.
Yeah.
So yes,
right. Whatever those games.
Two of the games every week were very easy.
We're wins.
Right.
Wins. Right.
But we're still. I mean, Harry, you're still picking 750 basically, even with the tougher games.
Right.
But we do have. I don't know if we ever had even a 3-game lead. Maybe at some point in one of the last 2 seasons.
I think John was up at like 6 at one point.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe that's true. A 2-time defending champion. So anyway, that's the story from last week. So this week we've got the Clippers visiting the Atlantis Falcons.
The Atlantis Falcons.
The Atlantis Falcons. They play like they're underwater.
Exactly.
So Johnny, who do you like in this one?
I'm taking the Chargers, or the Clippers, as it were.
Taking the Clippers. Harry?
I'm taking the Falcons. I like the Falcons at home. I don't like the Chargers on the road this year.
Yeah, listen, Falcons sacked Matty Ice, and maybe they have a little resurgence with whoever their backup quarterback is. I don't know, Cooper Gino? Who knows?
Cooper Gino.
But I'm going with the Clippers.
You're going with you're on my side there.
I'm on your wavelength. I'm taking the Clippers, and the coin likes heads, the home team, which is the Falcons. So there we go. So we are split 2 and 2. Next up is Green Bay, losers of like 3 in a row. 4 in a row, visiting the 1 and 5 Detroit Lions, one of the few teams that has a longer losing streak at 5 than Green Bay does. Maybe the only team in the NFL that has a longer losing streak than Green Bay at this point. Harry, who do you like?
I think the Packers win this game.
Packers win. John?
Yeah, Packers. It's a divisional game, too. Packers win this game.
All right. Last time they met, Detroit won. That was last year.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers were a much better team last year. Detroit was certainly not any worse. I'm going to take the old Lions. Big upset. Packers lose 5 in a row.
Fair enough.
And the coin goes tails. Likes Detroit, so that's not good for me.
Tails
is Green Bay.
Oh, no, that's right. Sorry. Tails, so Green Bay. So I am on the island.
There you go.
Me and the Lions. That's either way, it's not good for me. All right.
That's not a good Sunday.
No, it's not.
Even if you win, it's going to be painful.
Yeah, I'm on the island. There's no Darrelle Revis. It's going to be ugly.
There's no Ginger or Marianne.
That's true.
Just a 1 and 5 Detroit team at home.
Just me and the Lions fighting for coconuts.
All
All right,
there's no coconuts in
Buffalo
Detroit.
visiting the New York Jets. I got the Bills. Anybody want to take the Jets?
Nope.
No.
Although this is a game that the Jets traditionally will win. This is the one that. But I'm taking Buffalo.
Not this year though.
Yeah.
Let's see what the coin. Coin says heads. Coin likes
Taking
the
the
Jets.
Jets.
Stupid coin.
Stupid. Coin.
Well, listen, it didn't get to 500 by making intelligent picks. All right, the Rams visiting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Let's have the coin go first here, since we've taken a shot at picking first. Coin says heads, which is the home team, likes the Bucks.
All right.
John?
Buccaneers are going to win. Tom Brady's going to win.
Well, I've been on this Bucks. I picked the Bucks to go to the Super Bowl. I just don't. And look, the Vegas has them winning this too. And the Rams have certainly not looked like world beaters, but
neither of these teams has lived up to their billing.
No.
There's just something. Mike Evans is questionable. All of their. I just think this Bucks team is in disarray. I'm going to take the Rams.
Rams got to win sometime, right?
Look, the Rams have just as many wins on the road this year as the Bucks do at home.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't think I think the Rams got to turn the corner here. I think their defense will cause some problems. It's kind of a defining game for both teams. It's kind of a must-win almost for both teams.
Yeah, definitely not a mathematical must-win, but
No.
All right. So Harry, you're going to be on the island with the blue and gold. I'm taking the Bucks.
All right.
And finally, Tennessee, the resurgent Tennessee Titans, visiting. Is Kansas City the best team in the AFC?
Yes. No.
No?
There's two teams in the AFC that are the best, and there's the same two teams this last year, and they'll probably play each other to decide who is the best.
All right. So I'm going to take KC.
As
Harry?
am I.
Yes.
That's
Kansas
John.
City. Kansas City.
Okay. Let's see what the old coin says. Tails.
Titans.
Tennessee. There we go. So interesting. All right, so let's see. Harry's on an island. The coin's on an island. I'm on an island. John's the only one who's not on an island
There you go.
this week.
This week.
All right, so there you go.
There you have it.
Thank you very much. The coin.
Our stunning picks. What's tomorrow's night's game?
Tomorrow's game is the Eagles and the
Texans, right?
Eagles and the Texans.
And the Texans, yeah. Oh, by the way, Houston's up 5-0 again.
The Texans are up 5-0 already, and the game hasn't even started.
They are a better baseball team than the Eagles, apparently.
Field goal and a safety will get you to 5.
Yeah.
How
there you
ironic
go.
is it that, and this game was scheduled months and months and months ago, but tomorrow night, Philly is playing Houston in Houston, and Houston is playing Philly in Philly.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's all delayed by the baseball, anyways, delayed by 1 day.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
which to that
would have
point,
been an extra day apart, except for the rain.
It sounds like Syndergaard and Verlander are both going to start tomorrow.
There you go.
Excellent.
Cinderlander and
Cinderlander and Vergard.
Vergard.
They both sound like carpet treatments.
Cinderlander. Put a little Vergard on there.
Cinderlander sounds like a strange little Christmas town in
They're
upstate
both
New York.
former Dutch prime ministers.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
So I want to throw this up really quick. Speaking, we just did beaten by the coin. CBS Sports actually posted something that some guy named Nooner put up, and he's been doing a coin flip for the Jets for all year, and he did it the whole year at the beginning. So far, after week 8, he's right the coin that he flipped was right every single week, and he has the Jets beating Buffalo this week. So if his coin holds true, the Jets will beat Buffalo.
I'm going to start following his coin on Twitter.
You know what?
Right.
I think Nooner's full of crap.
Yeah, but if you look down at the bottom, it's the CBS Sports says Week 9, the Bills versus the coin. They stole our thunder, and we've been doing this for years. So
Yeah,
I think he just.
But they got
made this up.
36,682 likes, and we've gotten 36 likes total on all of them.
I was going to say we've probably gotten that many likes in 2 years.
No, nowhere close.
All right, maybe half of that in 2 years.
Half of 36, yeah.
Maybe
18.
Exactly.
I'm
If
responsible
we've
for
gotten
6,419 likes.
If we've gotten 36 likes, I'd be surprised.
You guys got to come up with the other 30.
All right, fair enough.
I think Nooner made that up. He waited till week 8. He did it post game. So now he'll get some of the rest correct, almost by chance, most likely, and then the coin will be above 500. I think he's full of crap.
Well, we'll see.
I don't believe a coin flip.
Well, I'm certainly going to keep an eye on it. If the Jets actually do win, we'll keep watching it. So
and he's a chump for stealing our idea anyway.
I know.
All right. He'll be on the program next week. By
the way, how clutch is Alec Bregman?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, pretty good.
All right. Let's talk a little bit, just for a brief moment, about the dumpster fire that is the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
Steve Nash is out. Right.
Yes.
Yep. He's gone.
Have they announced?
Kevin Durant shocked.
Yeah. Kevin Durant was shocked.
Shocked. He enjoyed working with him.
So,
and he was shocked that they actually listened to him and got rid of him like he was pushing for all summer long.
I heard a Sports Minute on WFAN today by Jim Rome, and he says Nash is out. He was the problem. It wasn't the player that was a holdout, asked for a trade, didn't get it, wanted the coach out, didn't get it, and then basically was saying it's not KD, it's not Kyrie. Steve Nash was the problem. So that's what he said. So. Yeah.
I have a question. Well, Jim Rome's still on the radio?
Apparently.
Yeah, actually, I was flipping through the channels. I saw him the other day. But he's not the Jim Rome of old.
He's not the Jim Rome.
Jungle.
What did he used to call his followers? What did he call the people who listened to him?
Roamers?
No, it was something else.
Jimmy's?
Clones or something like that? I don't know.
I'm not
and
sure.
Then somebody would say something, would call in with something that he liked. Rack him, Jimmy. Rack him.
Rack him.
Yeah,
God, I'm having a weird flashback right now.
Yeah, that was such a cool show.
Jungle.
Here's what I'll say. Listen, in Steve Nash's defense, and I'm not going to say he was a good coach.
There's no defense associated with Steve Nash.
Well, thank you very much. I tried to figure out what was the best straight line. I knew one of you would. Kind of a fucked up way to start your coaching career, right? You're brought into this team with no bona fides, right? No head coaching experience. Couple superstars. You're expected to win, right? You're expected to win at least something.
2 or 3 championships at least.
Right. And then you've got injuries. You've got Kyrie the nut job. You've got COVID. You've got an unhappy Durant. You've got the Harden trade, and then the other Harden trade. How does that,
Well, they pulled the trigger on this way earlier than they wanted to because they wanted to deflect attention away from Kyrie.
Yeah,
and I actually think that's the bigger story here. And I thought Shaq and Charles both addressed it perfectly last night or the night before. I can't remember when it was on TNT and inside the NBA. Kyrie should be suspended. This guy is just. There's a lot of young people and people in general who look up to what a lot of these guys have to say. And if you're openly, it's one thing if you post something and you're not aware of the consequences of what the content is. But when you're told about the consequences of which I'm sure he knew, and then you're indifferent and even more so defiant in that stance, there's no room for that. There's no room for that. We shouldn't be talking about this.
Yeah.
And the Nets are a team and an organization filled with a bunch of egomaniacs who live in fantasy worlds, spoiled children who live in fantasy worlds, from their owner to their star players, spoiled brats. And I hope their season crumbles, and I hope this dumpster fire continues, because there's nobody that deserves it more than these guys. And yes, Steve Nash is probably the least of their problems. But to Steve Nash, congratulations. You made it out.
Yeah. So, yeah, there was virtually no way he was going to succeed. And I don't know if you guys remember, but when they traded for James Harden, I said at the time, all right, this is never going to produce what they want. It's never going to work. This big three, this whole idea, I hate to see it, but I don't know. Johnny, did I send you those pictures?
Well, obviously, Harden's not the problem.
What's that?
Obviously, Harden's not the problem.
Listen, Kevin Durant is an incredibly talented player, as is Kyrie Irving.
Yep.
But, and I don't put them on the same level as far as issues, but there's both shit going on with both of them.
Sure.
And Kevin Durant is losing a lot of respect, at least from yours truly. I know that bothers him. I'm sure it does. He's up.
I talked to him last week, and he told me he was very upset.
But I don't know if he's just getting bitter or he's in a bad situation, but he's not helping to make it better. Mm-hmm. And you're right, Kyrie. He should be thrown out of the league for a while. But he's not going to change. That's the thing. I don't think he'll. Right, he said it before. Basketball, he loves it, but his other things are important, and maybe being an anti-Semite and having freedom of speech or whatever is more important than playing basketball. But
so then he can go do that.
So he should, right? And the NBA should say, yeah, go ahead, go do that. And if you ever decide to be a decent human being and not a whack job, then maybe we can work something out. But you know how it is in sports: talent gets the pass. The athlete is king.
Yep.
And both of these guys, Durant too, in a different way, his actions have been reprehensible.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I were the Nets, it's time to clean the slate. You're not going to win. You're never going to win with these two guys. Yep. As talented as they are, it's never going to all come together. Just wipe the slate clean again.
Mm-hmm.
And start over.
Here's what I will say to that. Okay. Because as bad as they look right now, I think we have short-term memory loss with the talent that those two guys possess. Because they were a Kevin Durant toenail away from going to the NBA Finals.
But they didn't get there.
They didn't get there, but that doesn't mean that they're not successful. We sit here and talk about the Giants and Jets and can they win 7 games? Well, the Nets went as far as a lot of other teams that were built up. They went farther than the 76ers, who certainly have been built up very far. They went further than Boston did 2 years ago when they were built up to be the team to beat. Now that came to fruition a year later. They went farther than the Clippers did. They went farther than what other teams have been manufactured and stuck together with 2 stars over the years. It doesn't seem like that's in the cards right now, but there's no one with more natural talent on a professional basketball court than Kevin Durant. There is no one. Right now and where he's at in his career, there is no one as efficient a scorer as Kevin Durant. Now, some would argue maybe Steph Curry, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. Not as efficient.
Right. 1 and 1A, right?
Yeah, 1 and 1A.
He is the most efficient scorer I think the NBA has ever seen. Does he have the intangibles to take a team that maybe doesn't have as the depth that other teams do to win a championship? He's proven no, but he was very close. And as much as whatever you want to say about Kyrie, on any given day, Kyrie could be the best player in the NBA. But on the next day, he could be one of the worst. And so is that good for a team? I don't think so.
No.
And I think he's gone deeper off the deep end. I think he's I think he cares more about this attention that he's getting from the fringes and the worship that he's getting from these people who are blindly following this nonsense.
Yeah.
Than he cares about basketball. Because in that world, he could put the blinders on and only get the praise.
Right.
He
can
being such a free thinker and a radical and
right.
a leader.
He can climb into the bubble and be surrounded by acolytes.
But he can't.
And I
can't
agree
do
with
that. Can't do that on the basketball court.
No. I agree with everything that you said about the talent. I've been saying for years, I think Kyrie is a top 5 player in the NBA. He's got skills that really nobody else, a package of skills that I don't think anybody else really has.
And it's too bad.
Incredible.
And it's
but all of that
right
doesn't translate to what you brought them here for.
No.
That's the goal, is to win the championship.
Not yet. And it probably won't, because Durant's going to ride out this contract and then probably go somewhere else where he wants to go. I will say this. I think Kevin Durant's stock is not as high as it was when he first requested a trade. And that proved to be too high of an asking price.
Mm-hmm.
So Kevin Durant's going to maybe, with his tail between his leg, go somewhere. And I think you're going to see Durant team up with another stacked team. And I know this sounds crazy, but if Draymond Green is not re-signed on Golden State, you will see Kevin Durant back in Golden State next year.
And that will, it'll tarnish his legacy a little bit, because he'll be the guy that went to a ready-made team twice. And now here's the tough part for the Nets now. They sort of have to ride this out.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and hope it gets better, so that Durant's stock does go up. So if you're going to trade him,
right? Let's talk about the elephant in the room. They're hiring a coach who was suspended for the entire league for the entire year by the Boston Celtics. Now, I'm not conflating what he did to other things, but this doesn't bode well for the Nets.
No, but he at least has a record outside of the police record. I don't know. Did he get arrested? He was fooling around with an intern or whatever it was, right? He never got arrested or anything. But in other words, at least he has a coaching record and success, right? So,
well, you could say the same thing about Kyrie and Durant. They both have rings.
Yeah, not together, not in Brooklyn.
Well,
now here's the
coach of the Celtics doesn't have a ring.
Let me ask you this. If that's the move the Nets are going to make, they got to bring him in right away, right?
I think they'll announce his hiring tomorrow.
Yeah, they should, right? They shouldn't wait.
Well, I think they're working it out. I think it was close today.
Well, I don't think what you're talking about, Udoka.
Yeah.
I don't think they're. Sorry about that. I was just doing something. I don't think that. I don't think that they're. I don't think there was anything to negotiate. I was doing something. I don't think they're negotiating anything by any means. I think they're just waiting for it. I'm shocked they didn't do it tonight.
I think it's just the reality of these things take a little,
but
dotting the T's and.
But I mean, clearly he's out. Clearly he's persona non grata in Boston, right? But he's still a good young coach, right? So, do you think that it has anything to do with Udoka saying, maybe I'll hold off a little bit because somebody else could get fired, and I might want to go somewhere else that's got to be a better fit for me.
No, I think he wants it. I think he's going to take whatever.
Yeah,
he wants to just jump, and he wants to get back into it and go and done.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting 2 really great players, and he's going, if I can bring these guys together, and
by 2 really great players, talking about KD and Ben Simmons, right?
Yeah.
No one's happier than what's happened in the last couple of days than Ben Simmons.
Right.
Yeah, he's so happy his knee hurts and he can't play. I don't know. They're a mess. Maybe a new coach is the answer. I say just, I don't know, get over 500 and then blow it up.
Yeah. All right. On that note, I just wanted to point this out. I don't know if you saw this. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. I repeat once again, this is not a joke. This was an actual job posting today. Brooklyn Nets LLC looking for a public relations coordinator. That's posted on salary.com.
Interesting.
So,
how much they paying?
I don't know. I didn't click it. I just saw it.
I'll take the job, but you're not going to like what I'll do it great. You want to clear it up? I'll do it great. Have Kyrie and and Katie sit next to me while I give the press conference.
There
All right,
you go.
all right, Harry. Let's do this. Let's play a little game here. Let's hear your pitch. You've been called in for an interview.
All right.
All right, you're going to be the promoter, the public relations coordinator. There's Meeks and the ownership or whoever's there, but sitting on the other side of the table. You come in, and they're like, "Okay, what's your pitch? What's your plan? What's your slogan? What's the message? Go."
I'd like to introduce our new head coach who was fired last year for inappropriate behavior, because this is as good as it fucking gets in Brooklyn Nets land. Because I got a fucking flat earther conspiracy theory point guard over here and a spoiled son of a bitch as a star over here. Okay, this is as good as it gets. Okay, this is the NBA. This is what you want. Go play basketball and win some games. Shut your mouth, keep your hands in your pockets, and go win some games. There you go. Welcome to the Brooklyn Nets. We're still better than the Knicks.
That's the tagline. That's the tagline.
I like it.
No matter
Thank
you
you,
finish
Nutz.
every press conference with, "We're still better than the Knicks."
Yeah. All right,
Could be
Jersey
worse.
Johnny, up next. You're also vying for the job. What do you got? What's your slogan? What's your message? What's your tag?
I like the you know what, I can't get over the "we're still better than the Knicks" part. I can't get beyond that. Yeah, I mean, I really can't top what Harry did. There's not much better than that. I'd have to, honestly, if I was sitting in the same room and he did that before me, I would say, "It's yours. Go for it. Just hire me to do your that was
All right, well,
I mean,
you gotta give
I
us-
wouldn't say any much different. So the only thing it would be is like me repeating what he said. So I would get
All
the
right, well,
job
here's
anyway.
the thing, though. We don't know much about
The
we
New
don't know
York
much-
Nets would also like to say we're looking for a non anti-Semitic rebounder. If a defensive player, power forward or center, please send your resumes in.
Here's the thing, though, Mr. Johnny.
Yeah.
We don't know much about Harry Lug Nutz yet. He might have something in his past that makes him unhireable.
Oh, without
so
a doubt.
we give us a slogan, just in
But
case.
that's the Nets.
If we can't go, he's a perfect fit in that way. But it could be if we can't go with him, give us a tagline.
You got it. We may suck as human beings, but we're good on the court when we want to be, and we're still better than the Knicks.
All right, not bad. Piggybacking. Okay.
It's
All right.
There's never a dull moment.
Well, as long as neither one of you is,
I really
felon,
do think they should change their logo for this year to a dumpster on fire.
I think so too. I think so too.
See,
Or
but
maybe those the knots,
I can't wait for the
Brooklyn knots,
I can't wait for Hanukkah
the
season.
Brooklyn Knots. Just
the
put an
Brooklyn
O instead of an
NOTS
E.
knots.
Knots.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the Nets to wheel out Kanye and Kyrie during Hanukkah this year to try to make up for it. It's going to be fantastic.
Well, that's it. Well, you know what? Their logo with the shield will fit a menorah perfectly.
That's right.
That's right.
I mean,
And each candle of the menorah could have a little dumpster on fire on top.
it's sad. We're joking about it, but it's despicable and it's sad.
Kyrie's an asshole. All right,
It's just despicable and
Kyrie's
sad.
an asshole. He's
But
and I
here's
agree
the
with
thing, though.
I agree with Harry 100%. He needs to be out of basketball for a little while.
Right.
He needs to
Not
go find
defending-
himself. No, he
But
needs
that won't change him. He likes being out of basketball.
Is it? Look, he is who he is, right? I'm not defending him, but it's really the team and/or the league that's, no pun intended, dropping the ball here, right?
Absolutely
They
the ball.
ought to be doing something about this. His attitude and should not be tolerated. So
Look,
they're the ones that we
And,
should
and
really be.
if there's any leadership, the commissioner of the NBA has always done the right thing. I think he's the best leader of any professional sports league,
I know what we should do with Kyrie.
even though he looks like a Q-tip.
I know what we should do with Kyrie. I got the perfect answer right here. Trade him to Russia for Brittany Griner.
Ooh, yeah.
I think that's been tried.
By the way, she lost her appeal.
Yeah.
Appeal.
I mean, that's another just ridiculous. I mean, actual serious
Mhm.
Yeah.
scenario. It's just
But if we could send Kyrie over there,
Putin. Look, this is a statement. This is the problem.
And they could take him. They could take him. They could take him and make money off of him, right? Is it like a show horse or something like that? And then there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a sad state of affairs.
It's hugely sad.
When that, because of the talent, that sort of thing is at all tolerated. But
yeah.
Your Brooklyn Nets.
Your Brooklyn Nets, ladies and gentlemen. Well,
never a dull moment.
Yeah, the Nets are 2-6. The Knicks are 3-3. So technically, the Knicks are better than the Nets.
I think the Knicks lost tonight, though. I don't know if that captures the
3-4 and 2 is still better than 2-6.
Yeah.
So, you know what?
My point with the Knicks is that they have James Dolan.
Yeah,
which now it's kind of neck and neck.
Mm-hmm.
Dolan's got a longer history of fucking things up.
This is true.
That's true.
His track record is very, very, very long. So anyway, all right, and just to wrap up things sports wise, we haven't talked about it yet. You got the Rangers are 6-3-2. They're at 14 points. They're technically second, but tied for first. Whatchamacallit, they're second because of the virtual wins, but they're tied for first. Behind the Devils too. Devils are 7-3. Devils are 7-3. Congratulations, Jersey Pete.
Yeah, there we go. Finally,
you picked a good time to be Jersey Pete, and not just Jersey Pete, but Jersey Pete.
That's right.
Yeah, but the Devils are 7-3 in first place in the Metropolitan Division, and the Islanders are back in fifth place but with only 2 points behind the Devils and Rangers. So hey, who knows? This could be an interesting year. So there you have it.
Yeah, it's it's early, obviously, in the season, so.
It's just this season.
Get another month in, and then we'll
2.5 weeks ago. Yeah, we'll talk more about that as we get more into the season. So, but we do have
Boston Bruins.
There you go. We do have an
9-1.
9-1. They're in a different division, though. So.
Well, I know. I'm just saying.
We do have an "Are They for Real" today, don't we?
Are they for real? Yeah. Do we have
Do we have music for that?
Have a theme?
We do.
Let's see if this one works.
What is real?
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
Pretty sure none of that's real.
You're not real.
For real, for real, for real. Yeah.
Are you for real? For real? For real? For real?
Are they for real?
What is real?
Yeah.
Did you throw a techno version of the NFL sounder in there? Dun, 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 dun.
No, that is an actual song called "What Is Real."
What is real?
By I don't know.
What is real? Baby, don't hurt me.
Yeah, that's right. Though I didn't make that connection before. Oh yeah, I could have used that too. Well, anyway.
All right, I like it.
So, are they for
favorite
real?
part of the show.
We're gonna have just a show of themes.
Yeah, I just like the music.
But we get all the themes together, finally done.
Exactly.
All right. First up, are they for real? They've won 3 weeks in a row. We were talking about them before. Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks. Are they up and coming, or they just played a little bit of decent football? Harry.
They're real enough to beat the New York Giants. Does that make them real? No.
No. Okay. Jersey Johnny.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say I'm going to say they're where they are because of Pete Carroll.
Right.
And if they had a lesser coach, they wouldn't be even. They'd might have won 2 games. So yeah, no, they're not for real. They're not.
All right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, they're on top of the division right now, but
they're in it. They're in it. What they originally thought was going to be the best division in football, or one of the best divisions in football, I should say. It's pretty much at best, if not one of the worst divisions in football. So
yeah. They're better, I guess, than we expected, but not for real. All right. They've won 5 in a row. Also in the NFC, the Minnesota Vikings. Now, granted, the Packers are not good. The Bears are not good. The Lions are not good. The other teams in their division. But Minnesota was losing games by less than a touchdown last year, losing close games, and they are winning those close games this year. So, are they for real at 6-1?
Yes.
Johnny?
Yes, they are.
Harry?
They are. However, things might change. They've lost to the Eagles. They beat the Lions, the Packers, the Saints, the Bears. I'll give them credit for the Dolphins win and a struggling Cardinals team. They're for real, but they can come down to earth here pretty soon.
All right. I'm kind of on the fence. I'm going to say, yeah, I think so. But we will see how they fare against.
Vikings have always been a solid, if not good, team that blew some close games on a regular yearly, year in and year out basis.
And
they have
later in the season.
Yeah, they have changed some things up a little bit, and they're winning those games now. And I do think that's going to continue. Do I think they're going to win the rest of the season, not win the Super Bowl? No, but they're for real. They're there. They're part of the upper part of the NFL, right?
All right, the Washington
Kirk Cousins is the best Kirk Cousins in the NFL this year.
He's the best guy named Cousins.
He is the best cousin in the NFL.
He's the best Kirk Cousins. There's a lot of Kirk Cousins. He's the best of them right now.
Sure.
All right, how about those Commanders, winners of 3 in a row, including just jumping on the, maybe, we don't know if it could be the caboose of the let's beat up on Green Bay train. Might not be the last car. We'll see how Green Bay fares this week. But Washington, are they for real?
No.
I'm going to say no. But they're better.
They're bad. They're just not for real.
Yeah, they are. No, they're not for real. However, I put them in the same category as the Seahawks. They're realer than you thought they were going to be, but they're not quite there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's a possibility now that Dan Snyder is going to sell the team, right? Because he can't get a new stadium.
Probably be the best thing for the Commanders.
Oh, my God. There would be a parade. I think there would be a parade in the streets.
The Commanders... The Commanders have lost to the Lions this year. They've beaten the Jaguars, the Bears, the Packers, and the Colts. So, like I said, they're not for real, but they're what you would expect them to be. I think. I think they're kind of right where I expected them to be.
All right,
there you go.
Okay. On the flip side of the coin, we talk about, are these teams for real as far as being good? Are the aforementioned Brooklyn Nets for real? Are they really this bad?
No.
They're better. They're just not playing well.
They're going to be a playoff team. They'll probably look, the way in which the 76ers are playing, I think they could win that division.
It wouldn't. Okay.
And I think that they're an Eastern Conference Finals team potentially.
It wouldn't shock me that within the next 2 weeks, it pretty much gets proven once Udoka is installed, if you will, that they were not playing as best as they could have been playing. Just so they created a reason for management to fire Steve Nash.
So give him a legitimate out, which makes them even more reprehensible, right?
Absolutely. Completely reprehensible.
They were all in on Steve Nash because he wasn't going to upset the apple cart and was going to let the big boys, run the team, basically.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let Steve Nash go coach Team Canada. That's where he belongs. Something like that.
Well, look, let him go get a little bit of experience somewhere with something of a stable environment.
Yeah,
and not a couple of flacos. All right, so I think we're all in agreement. The Nets are not as bad. Again, I don't think they're going to win anything, and but get better and then blow up the team. All right, just to switch things up, we're going to talk about the Tennessee Volunteers.
Oh, wow.
Who are ranked number 1 in the Division 1A rankings. They are 8-0 overall, 4-0 in their division.
Yep. When was the last time they were ranked number 1? I think there was a certain quarterback maybe playing.
I think it was a guy.
I'm not sure they were ever ranked number 1, though.
I'm not sure they
were.
They
were ranked number 2, I think, with him.
Last time they were ranked number 1 was probably the mid-'80s.
I don't think they ever had a number 1 with Tannehill. So I think it was that guy Peyton.
I don't.
And of course they beat Alabama for the first time in like 20 years or whatever it is. Yeah. So let me. Johnny's looking up right now. All right. So here's what they've done. Big win over Ball State. Overtime win over number 17 Pittsburgh. Big win over Akron. 5-point win over number 20 Florida. Big win over number 25 LSU. 52-49 over Alabama a few weeks ago. Crushed UT Martin. I don't even know who that is. 44-6 over number 19 Kentucky. They've got Georgia, Missouri, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt. Georgia's ranked number 3.
Well, if they beat Georgia, then talk to me. That's the team they need to beat.
So they are not for real yet. Maybe.
I think on the strength of their schedule, they've beaten some big-name teams who are having down years. But when you've beaten Alabama, LSU, and who was the third one?
They beat Florida and Pittsburgh and Kentucky.
Florida. Yeah.
Florida was close.
Kentucky's Kentucky's a basketball school. So that alone gives you credibility. I don't think they're as good as Georgia, personally. I think they will lose to Georgia. But if they somehow win that game, then they're for real. But I'm going to wait. I'm going to defer the answer to my question to this until that game.
Right.
And their last 3 games, Missouri, South Carolina, and Vandy, as in Vanderbilt.
They should win all those by 30 points.
Yeah, they're not ranked. So if they can beat Georgia, they could run the table.
Yeah, I'm gonna say they're going 12-0. I believe they're going to beat Georgia, and I am going to say they are for real. And the last time they were ranked number 1 was with Peyton.
Okay, there we go.
1998, they were ranked number 1.
Did they ever win a national championship with them?
No, I don't think so.
Nope.
Boy, that win over Alabama was big.
Yeah.
Florida
Alabama's got 2 losses this year, though.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Florida was close. Pittsburgh was close. LSU was a blowout. LSU is not the same LSU. No. I'm going to say I think they're for real.
I do.
So we've got a couple of yeses, and let's see what they do this Saturday. They play Georgia. There we go.
There you go. All right.
And that is at
it's going to be a good game.
Stadium.
Yep.
It's in Georgia or in Tennessee?
It's at in Georgia.
Georgia.
They beat Georgia. They beat Georgia in Georgia.
Yeah, then they're for real. According to the CBS NCAA football website, tickets starting at just $460.
What I do hope is they keep that stadium locked up until past Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
Right.
And
well, there you go.
Are they for real?
And that is, are they for real? All right. I think we're good. What do you guys think?
I got nothing.
All right.
Fantastic. Excellent sound effects this week.
Good thing. There you go. All right. On that note, we will wrap the show up for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And, of course, all of our shows are available on YouTube as well on the Logger Room channel. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night around 7:30 Eastern time. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, and iHeartRadio as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Keep watching the World Series. Watch Week 9 of the NFL season this weekend, and we will talk to you next week, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Do you guys think this jersey makes me look fat?
No. It's very slimming.
It is very slimming.
I think if you change the number 10 to 100, it would even make you look skinnier.
There we go. By the way, thank you very much there, Jersey Johnny.
You are very welcome. There you go.
Bye, everybody.